25. The time is 1:02 p.m. In attendance are Commissioners Eberline, Duncan, and Matari. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to add an executive session. So I don't know if it's, item 7 is a 1B, but we need a 1A and a 1B. So do I just add item 8, or can I have 7 be both?
Well, 7 can be the 1B.
Yeah.
Is the 1A part of the 1B?
Yes-ish.
Kind of. We just had some new information come in this week that would allow us to talk about another issue with an employee.
So just put that on the record, that there's a new issue that came up
Okay.
that you need to talk about at this meeting.
Yes, so, yes, we got information on Monday, which requires sooner action than later regarding an employee. So I move that we add a executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061A.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. Okay. We've added it to the agenda. Next up is public comment. Hearing none, we'll go to our first business item. This is number 1, reclassification, request for HR review with the airport, and we have Director Gaston Patterson.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Gaston Patterson, Airport Director, for the record. In front of you today, we have a request to reclass or convert 2 current positions out at the airport. This is in a greater effort to essentially restructure the airport to set the foundation for our future growth and to operate more efficiently. The 2 positions that we're looking at are the currently approved Deputy Airport Director position and the current Compliance Administrator position at the airport. I attached a couple diagrams to your guys' packet if you want to reference that. Currently, right now, we have a pretty vertical organization at the airport. We're looking to kind of spread that out, make it more horizontal, and make a really nice foundation for how we're going to grow into the future. And like I said, operate more efficiently. So we're looking to convert the Deputy Airport Director position, which is vacant. We have not hired for that position, and turn that into the Manager of Grants and Finance at the airport. That'll be kind of an administrative manager as well for the office. Our then second position, the Compliance Administrator, that's not a very common position in an airport structure in the offices. More commonly, you would see this leasing and contract specialist. These are 2 different jobs. Currently, we have 1 person that is fulfilling both of these roles right now, and we're having a major bandwidth issue at the airport. Our demand has gone through the roof for how much business we're processing, providing the right customer service, and so on. I have some different numbers and metrics if we want to go into those as well. So this Manager of Grants and Finance is essentially the point person for all of our FAA state and local grants, and financial administrator, much like a CFO at an airport. Leasing and contracts, that is going to be all contractual. Essentially, you're like the airport's real estate agent for all of our new leases, processing hangar sales, transfers of lease, major administrative function. That in itself is a full time and a half job there. So basically trying to flatten out our organization, have everyone in the right channel, and have the proper leads in those roles, and then build from there. I also included just for reference, a 5+ year kind of where we would see the next step going as we grow over the next 3 to 5 years. That would then be adding in a deputy director and adding in operations and different things. But what we're trying to do is flatten out the organization to keep people overseeing what they should be overseeing. So in our past organization, you have a person overseeing certain functions at the airport that they don't have experience with, or that when you have a deputy director, when we do bring that back, now that's a person that can oversee all of these branches essentially. has expertise in all those branches, not one or the other. So we're not asking for any more employees. We're converting 2 currently approved and budgeted positions. As far as fiscal impact, we have not graded these positions. This initial request is simply to ask for approval for HR to now review the job descriptions, grade the job descriptions, and then we would come back to the board for final approval and deliberation on this. But with our proposed grade on these positions, this would be a budget savings from where we are right now for this year and obviously next budget cycle as well. So I can go into some metrics if you need some numbers as far as the bandwidth that we're looking at for these 2 positions. Like I said, essentially we have one, the compliance administrator, that is currently leasing, finance, grants, everything. And we are seeing a major influx of transactions that we're handling, different leases and grants and different requirements. The grants are becoming more demanding. The reporting is becoming more demanding. We can better serve our auditor's office by doing more drawdowns for our grants. It basically, having these separate will increase efficiency and productivity for everyone, not just our department. So, and like I said, at a budget savings, it'll kind of create the foundation for where we are and where we want to go. So I'm able to answer any questions in regards to that, and we can go from there.
Thank you. Any questions?
No questions, just statement. I appreciate the effort here, and I think it's a good change.
Any questions?
So how long is this going to be?
So essentially, I would assume, I can't speak for HR and how long it would take for the review process before we would bring this back, but as soon as it was reviewed and we brought back to another HR meeting, we would essentially reclass one of our current positions and we would hire for that leasing and contract specialist.
What would the additional cost be, do you suppose?
No additional cost. We're currently budgeted for these positions as we speak. We're budgeted for a deputy airport director and currently have a compliance administrator. So we're just essentially changing job titles and job descriptions for those positions.
So in 2 years, you would assume that you're going to have a budget cost increase?
Honestly, it wouldn't be for probably 3 to 5 years until we added another head in. We currently have this head count budgeted as we speak right now. So we wouldn't have an increase for probably 3 to 5 years, I would say.
Sounds like a no-brainer to me.
I have some questions for you.
Yes, sir.
Did you write the job descriptions?
Yes.
Okay. You have for this manager of grants, I mean, there's a couple of things that stand out to me. First of all, why was this not in your budget?
What do you mean?
Well, it's a mid-year ask.
Correct, because they're position conversions, not FTE requests. These are already pre-approved. They're just reclasses.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, the only thing is, like, you know, I look at this and we're asking for someone who has response, like there's an association with transit in here. What association would this position have with transit?
Much like transit as far as grants, federal grants, state grants, any transit-oriented grants in that regard.
Working knowledge, so they would have an interaction with transit?
They would. There's a lot of ties between that. We can go after a lot of the same money in that regard.
And then
not super common, but
working knowledge of government and enterprise fund accounting. Are we going to do any enterprise work?
I mean, as it stands right now, the airport, like solid waste, is a business. We have revenues, we have profit and loss. We operate in that fashion.
Yeah, but that's basic accounting, though. I mean, that's not like enterprise.
I mean, essentially, the airport is a business. We operate it like a business. Most structures at airports are structured much like a corporation would be.
You know, I know that we have talked a little bit about this. I'm just trying to understand why, like, we have to move so quickly on it, because we started talking about this. Commissioner Eberline is probably not aware, but we started talking about this a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is a year later, and we need to move quickly. And, you know, I'd like to have a little more time just to kind of digest this a little bit and maybe talk with you offline. I presume you talked with your liaison about this?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So,
And as far as urgency, it's just a matter of addressing a bandwidth issue we currently have, having one person do essentially 2 job descriptions.
Oh, I know, and we've talked about that months and months ago, which is why I expected you to bring it before us months and months ago, and it didn't, and now it's before us, and we have to make a quick decision. And that's where I generally say, whenever someone says, we've had this problem, it's been going up, but I don't do anything until it's up here, and then the board has to make a quick decision, that's when I like to at least slow it down. Now, if the other 2 board members say, hey, let's go for it, then that's their prerogative, and that's okay. But I would like to have at least that opportunity just to understand what it is you want to do. Because our conversation a year ago was we pulled out some of the duties in a particular job description that no one else in the airport had. I think it had to do with looking at reading blueprints, right? So there's no one else in the department who had that skill set, even though there was still some of that happening. And I just want to make sure that what you want to do, it makes sense overall, and then from the aggregate position, and then I'm fine with it.
Okay.
But that's just me. If the other 2 commissioners want to do that,
I'm in that
fine.
same boat. I asked the questions over there. I do not see the need to rush. It's your 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the road as you spoke. You know, so we can start ramping up and, you know, figuring out making things work to where it's going to be best for the airport.
So I guess I don't look at it that way. They're 1 position down right now. They're 1 position down. So the workload is to a point where they would like this conversion so it can be better managed workload and get another person in the airport to help take care of this. And again, whether this was in the budget or not, he has to come before us just to have HR review this.
Yes.
So this is not an approval of the 2 positions, it's merely to have HR review it.
I understand completely. I understand that completely. The devil is always in the details. I mean, I looked at the job description and I saw a lot of language that overlapped the deputy director position. And so that's where I'm trying to figure out, is this a remaking of the deputy director position, or is this actually a grants person and you want to take the existing workload of that 1 person is doing and split it into 2 people because there's not enough bandwidth to do it? Or are we adjusting all of the different duties, right, and changing that around, which is different. It's very different.
Correct. Yeah,
And,
this is.
and I'm just going to say this, this isn't something that you see in the private sector. You write the job description, the salary follows. You know, it's very different in government. And that's why I like to look at these job descriptions closely and understand it. So to make sure that, you know, 1, are we keeping the functions exactly how we intend it to be? That we're not going to, I don't even know if you have plans on putting someone into this position. If so, will they be capable of doing this job? We've dealt with this with transit already, you know, where, you know, some job descriptions are written up, and then we look at, you know, is this something that we're setting people up for failure, in essence? And I want to make sure we don't do that. So that's my only issue, is that, you know, this is something that's been going on for a while. And, you know, I would have liked to have had this discussion in January, but we didn't. We started it last May. I know you and I talked about this offline a little bit, but it was very cursory, very limited. Now we're actually looking at stuff. And that's where I'd like to sit down and just go through that with you and just really make sure I understand the thought processes here. I'm not averse to it. I recognize the fact that the airport is getting busier. You're having more transactional volume, but that's been known for a while. So this discussion could have been happening much sooner too, in anticipation as opposed to in reaction to.
And it's not necessarily in reaction. This is us bringing it forward. And like I said, this is just merely the ask to begin to study it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not trying to push to get this
Okay.
done tomorrow.
All right, well, it's just in the memo, it says we would like to begin the hiring process as quickly as possible. So, yeah, and that comes across as a little bit of a sense of urgency, as opposed to we'd like to get the positions developed and set up, and then at some point, start looking to fill it with the right people.
Sure.
So, Are you in agreement? All right, so let's talk about this offline.
Excellent.
We'll get on my calendar and we'll go through this.
Thank you.
All right, item number 2, higher duty pay request for higher compensation. This is an ECO lateral applicant with the sheriff's office. We have Captain Andy Deek here.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Captain Andy Deek for the record. I'm before you today requesting that we we've already made a conditional offer to the employee to get them through the last phase of the background process with the medical and psychiatric testing, but they've come with 15 years of experience. Bringing them to the top of that ECO scale is, I think, in line with our compensation plan. We've done this with 2 prior employees in the last year that have transferred in as laterals to the dispatch center. I would like to offer this to that same employee when they finish, probably next week with the entire process.
Thank you. Questions? Commissioner Eberline?
Cogitating.
So this is adding an experienced person.
Yes.
They didn't work for her before, did they?
No.
No. But they have handled police, fire, so the ramp.
Typically, we see about a 6 months onboarding with somebody with that caliber, where a regular applicant would take close to a year
Yeah,
to complete the same.
yeah, I'm
It's just
fine with
them
it. We're
with our area.
we're in a very difficult situation where even if we found all the right candidates and brought them in, we couldn't train them fast enough. So for this particular individual, we're looking at a much shorter ramp-up period.
Correct.
Yeah, so that,
Plan.
and then that person would be able to train another person much quicker.
Yes,
So,
that's the hope.
well, without objection, I'll take a motion.
Mark, did you have any other thoughts?
I don't have any problem with this.
Okay. I move that we approve the higher duty pay request for the ECO position.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Chair Matari.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you.
It's not technically a higher duty pay request, though. It's just a,
Request for higher
We normally bring
compensation.
them in at market, which is in the middle of their.
yeah, it's just not
pay
higher
scale.
duty.
It's gonna be at step
Higher
7.
you want to redo the motion just for clarification?
Sorry,
Darren, do we
it
need?
should have been, sorry, Lex Pack for the record. We're training in HR too for this, so my apologies. It should have been new hire above 97% of market.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll redo the motion.
Is that going to be a problem, Darren, because of the way it was noticed?
No, it's gonna be fine.
Okay, all right.
All right, so I move that we approve the new hire request at the higher compensation step.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline,
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan,
Aye.
Chair Matari.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Next up, item 3. This is a position conversion, position 091-011, from Appraiser 1 residential to Appraiser 2 residential. I have Shelley Amos on here, but Dyson,
You get me, sorry.
yes.
She's, we're busy upstairs. We're dealing with a lot of foot traffic upstairs, so it's better that she's up there. Yes, so this is going to be our last 2 conversions of this nature. It's a mid-year ask. We didn't have them in our budget previously. It's kind of following the same suit. So if I go back in time and put them all in the budget, I would at that time. But they fulfilled all the requirements to become a certified appraiser. We'd like to keep them in line with the rest of staff and move them to an Appraiser 2 now that they've gotten their certifications from the state.
They work up through the ranks?
Yeah, so they started at 1 and then they've done a year and received and passed all of their tests required by the state. So this is moving them that natural progression to 1 to 2.
Good. Yeah, and just for folks who are watching from home, that this is a deal we make with the employees, that as they meet these professional qualifications and time within the organization, that we say, you will get this. So this is really more of a formality than it is some sort of a special request, correct?
Yeah, and that's all going to be baked into the budget moving forward.
Yeah. All right. Motion?
I move that we approve the position conversion position number 091-011 from Appraiser 1 to Appraiser 2.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Next up, item 4, position conversion, position 422-002. This is an Appraiser 1 residential to an Appraiser 2 residential, and it's the same as the previous item.
Yes, these are the same item.
Without objection, I'll take a motion.
I move that we approve the position conversion for position number 422-002, Appraiser 1 to Appraiser 2.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye, motion carries. Next up, item 5, countywide open positions overview with HR, and we have Lexi Pack to give us the update.
Hi, Commissioners, Lexi Pack for the record. So this is a report that HR generally presents to you guys regularly. We'll continue to do that until we hear otherwise. But this is current as of June 2nd. We have a total of 71 positions that are open with a 67.96 full-time equivalency, so a little bit lower. This is a decrease of 18% from the same time period in 2024. 19 of these positions are funded at 50% for the fiscal year 25. We have 35 openings in KCSO and 32.96 openings across the rest of the county. The sheriff's office is down from last year in open positions by 27. And we actually have 2 patrol hires scheduled to start next week. And then in July, there is a detention deputy transferring to patrol. And then patrol will be fully staffed. So that's some good news. And then in July, we have 2 detention deputies starting and then 1 in August. And we have another one that is interviewing this week that seemed promising. And then as far as echoes go, we had 3 new hires start this week and 1 applicant in backgrounds, and then more are scheduled for interviews as well. So they are doing pretty well. I talked to Marcia earlier this week and she was really happy with their current status. It's looking a lot better than it has. So that's pretty much the summary in general. Do you guys have any questions?
Questions, thoughts? The only thing I'd like to say is just, the last time doing the jail inspection, it just seemed like people were a lot more at ease. The deputies, knowing that so many more people were in the pipeline,
Yeah,
because they have to fill these hours. It's mandatory.
a lot of overtime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which can be good until the point that you're no longer seeing your family
Right.
and, having some me time, so.
Yeah, so hopefully with them being fully staffed in patrol, they'll be able to focus a little bit more on detention and
Yeah.
get them some more help as well.
Okay.
What's the financial aspect?
With respect to,
The changes?
They're all budgeted.
yeah.
This is just the open position report, how
Okay.
many that were down.
Yeah, I mean, probably the only financial aspect is that we're paying people overtime in lieu of, regular time.
Right.
Good.
So, okay,
Thanks.
all right, thank you. Next up is item 6, higher duty pay request. This is in Human Resources. It is an executive session. We probably should go into executive session, but before we do, I'll ask for public comment. Since these are the last 2 items, does anyone like to speak? No? Okay. A motion to go into executive session 1B and 1A.
I move that we enter into executive session for item numbers 6, 7, and the addition of 8 pursuant to Idaho Code 74206 1B and 1A.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline?
Aye.
Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. 1:51, I'll take a motion to exit executive session.
Yes, so I move we exit executive session per item 6. I move that we approve the higher duty pay request, and for 7 and 8, staff to proceed as discussed.
Second.
Commissioner Eberline? Commissioner Duncan?
Aye.
Chair Matari?
Aye. 1:51, meeting adjourned.
All right. I think we're okay.